Hi, I'm Janice, and welcome to part 5 of the Make Growth Happen series, where we take a more holistic approach to business growth. Before I start, if you have not yet downloaded the workbook, please do so. The link will be in the chat. That's the Make Growth Happen workbook. Now, we're going to look today at the second growth driver, which is the growth focused leader. And I'm going to share a bit with you about how a growth focused leader thinks and what is expected from that particular individual. Now, if you're going to really focus on growing your business, you want to first of all understand that growth is important. And that means that you should prioritize growth. Now, that also means that you should have that understanding that there are opportunities for growth out there. And opportunities should not be overlooked or underestimated, but you should calculate them properly, assess them properly, and then decide whether you want to pursue them or not. Another thing that you want to understand is that growth is something that should be approached holistically. It is not something that you can just look at one side of the business. Every aspect of the business has to be involved in growth. That's how it works. Now, as a growth-focused leader, it's important to understand another thing, that the business has two main parts: the strategic side and the operational side. The strategic side looks at the long-term planning, the long-term decision-making, the vision of the business, the objectives, looking at all of these things, the overall direction that the business is taking in the long term. And that's what the strategic side looks at. Now, the operational side now looks at the day-to-day activities, the day-to-day running of the business to ensure that everything is going effectively and efficiently. The operational side basically executes what the strategic side has planned and decided upon. Now, unfortunately, a lot of small businesses focus more on the operational side than the strategic side, but both of them are equally important. And if we have the strategic side and no operation, then nothing's happening. If we have the operational side and no strategic side, then we really are not going in any direction. And unfortunately, this is what happens a lot, where the strategic side is missing, as I mentioned earlier. And this is why statistics is telling us that so many businesses do not even go beyond the 5 years. It's because that strategic side is missing. Now, I want to talk a bit more about the strategic side and strategic thinking as a business owner. And I think the best way to do that is to give us the example of two birds. And maybe we can compare these two birds and look at their characteristics. And that should really shed light on how we approach things as business owners. I will look at the eagle and the pigeon. Now, when we think of the eagle is known for its exceptional vision. It's also known for soaring really high and really having that keen ability to spot opportunities and also threats from a distance. The eagle thinks strategically, and it takes a broader view of everything. It considers all possibilities before it will attack its prey. So the eagle stays from a distance, looks at everything, calculates things properly, and then makes a decision that before it acts. And when we think of us in business, that's how we have to do. We plan ahead, we think long term, and we calculate risks. We look at opportunities, we assess opportunities. We look through things and make sure that before we take action on anything, that we've really thought through and had a look at the business overall and see how that thing can affect the business, not just now, but in the long term. Now, if you think of an eagle, the eagle flies solo. And that teaches us that when you have to deal with strategic thinking, Strategic thinking strives without distractions. So when you're taking time to deal with the strategic side of the business, you want to ensure that you set aside time just to do that. It's not something that you can do in between tasks. Let's look at the pigeon now. The pigeon is associated with short-sightedness, and the pigeon really seeks what we call immediate gratification. The pigeon is just focused on, I have a need now, so let's deal with that need now. And it's more about instinct rather than really considering the bigger picture. When we think like a pigeon in business, we're basically being reactive. We're not being proactive. We have that limited perspective rather than taking time out to look at things from a broader perspective. And as a result, when you think like a pigeon, you're missing out on the long-term benefits that come with the right decisions. If you notice, pigeons, they usually flock together. That tells us that allows for distractions. And when you have all that distraction, you're not really taking that time out for deep thinking. So as business owners, we really want to think about how we approach things, how we think, and also how we make decisions. We cannot be reactive and just react to any and everything that happens. We have to choose what we respond to. I remember that quote, and that actually is my favorite quote by Winston Churchill, where he says, you can't get to your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. If we want to go far, we can't be reactive. A strategic thinker is proactive. A strategic thinker sits and analyzes everything before making a decision and before taking action. So if you really want to grow your business and really become that growth-focused leader, I suggest that you really adopt the thinking of an eagle, a strategic thinker. I will be sharing much more on the growth-focused leader in the next video. So as usual, look out for my video, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out.